Welcome. My name is Mike Bockhaus, and today I will be introducing Calix Smart Home and Business Solution. Before we begin the conversation, let me state that this conversation is securely grounded in 2018. This would be a different conversation in 2017, and it will be a different one in 2019. The reason why we feel 28 is important is because it is the year of the war for the subscriber. That's because at the end of 2017, we saw an emergence of a new category and market, and that is smart home. What we'll talk about today is how that emergence poses both a threat and an opportunity for our customers. And today we'll show you how Calix views this as an opportunity and developing new ways for our customers to generate new profit and thrive in this environment. So why is 2018 different than what we saw in 2017? What did we see at the end of 2017 that indicated something was changing? At the end of 2017, during the holiday retail season, we began to see big box retailers like Best Buy devote aisles that were labeled Connected Home or Smart Home. This marked for us a really new revolution, that the promise of the IoT device ecosystems had begun to coalesce, and retail began to devote significant space to the IoT market. Secondly, we saw large internet players turn their attention to getting their presence in the home due to rising sales of IoT devices. The giants took their primary strategic initiatives and brought that into the home, and we will talk about that in a bit and show it should affect you as a service provider. Lastly, we saw the effects of poor subscriber experience due to the underfunding and lack of attention of CPE by the service providers in the customer's home. Together, all these elements create a changing new landscape of 2018. So let's break this down in the next few slides. So let's look at IoT growth and the growth of this industry. This figure really shows that IoT has begun to hit home. Today, 25% of homes now own IoT devices, and you can see the staggering growth that's predicted in the industry within the next few years. Over half the homes will be deploying IoT devices in the race for the subscriber. This trend is the starting gun of the war for the subscriber. Turning our attention to the large internet players, let's talk about them for a bit. And how are they turning their attention into the home? This is definitely problematic, but they're not really experimenting in new ways. They are simply extending their primary business strategies, what they're really good at, to inside the home. They're overlaying your network and reaping revenue and data from your customers. This could be construed as worrisome if we treated them as competitors, but really the way to approach this is to treat them as allies. And during this conversation, we'll show how this can be accomplished and really benefit you as the service provider. So let's begin to look at these competitors in depth. Let's look at Amazon, as they are really the dominant player in the smart home market. They're dominant in the market with their hugely successful Alexa platform. So if you look at Amazon and what they really do well, they're a retailer and a very good one. If you remember a few years ago, their introduction to the smart home market was the Echo Dot, and it was the beginning of an experiment that allowed customers to easily order retail goods online and by voice. They drove an amazing amount of retail sales through their site, and it really verified that this was a viable market strategy. What this also does is it drives workloads to Amazon Web Services. People who work for AWS say their senior leadership says the AWS is really the end game. They have companies using AWS and writing applications for software and skills that Alexa can incorporate. They are successful as they strive to be the #1 cloud service provider in the world. So now let's look at Google. What's the one thing Google's best at? It's search. And searching yields valuable data that companies want. So consumers who place Google devices are really data probes inside their home. They're giving Google more and more data and information that companies want and will pay for. If you remember, they were very successful in the Android space because they did a very smart thing. They developed the operating system leaning into the Unix pitch of universal configurability, and they gave it away for free. They knew it was a land grab to take share away from Apple, as there were a lot of iOS devices in the market. And using this strategy, Android devices proliferated and overtook Apple. Well, today they're really doing the same thing with Android things and having the same effect, as many IoT devices now run Android things, getting them the same footprint to collect all important valuable data that companies want. Now, Samsung is an interesting player. They're not normally viewed as a competitor in your space, but a few years back, they bought a cool startup called SmartThings. SmartThings is probably the best IoT software that is out in the marketplace today. And this will allow more coalescing of IoT devices, creating a superior ecosystem within the home. Samsung is now placing this software in every platform or appliance that they make, from washer and dryers to refrigerators, microwaves, TVs, and embedding this software gives them a tremendous leg up on their competition. So when we think about winners and losers in this space, we see the drivers of this space, the Amazon, Google, and Samsungs, and they are trying to take their primary business strategy in the home, which would be a worry for service providers, but we will show you how this can be an advantage for you and your company. And what about Apple? Where do they stand in this race? Well, the reality is in 2018, they're kind of nowhere. There was an Apple TV experiment, which went okay. Then there was a home software framework, which was meant to work with iPhone and iPad environments, but it never really went anywhere. What they have come out with now is their HomePod, which is a very large, very expensive, and very constrained in functionality platform, as it often provides limited menu features with third-party devices. The only thing it can really do well is play music. And it's because of this that it really leaves Apple behind in the smart home market. Right now, we don't see Apple being a dominant player, but we'll continue to keep an eye on them and get in front of them when it's needed. So that is what we see as the dominating players in the market, the Amazons, Googles, and Samsungs. So let's talk about the third leg, which is customer dissatisfaction in the Wi-Fi space. This is really an area that we as service providers really were just concerned about getting high-speed connectivity to the side of the home. And we really never considered the experience in the home, especially with CPE and Wi-Fi. Many service providers viewed it as simply a lost capital expense versus an investment to be delivered as a basis for revenue and profit making. If we look at gateways today, most service providers place inexpensive units with low power antennas to deliver inadequate Wi-Fi service that we really didn't understand was the primary service that our customers wanted. As you can see, 63% of subscribers have Wi-Fi issues, and that's why we're seeing more and more RFPs for better and more powerful Wi-Fi solutions. At Calix, we don't think that's the answer, and there is a better next generation solution for service providers. The other effect is that it's driving your customers to retail establishment to buy their own Wi-Fi solutions. Your customers spend hundreds of dollars for a better solution. Even though it's problematic, at Calix, we view it as proof that it shows the desire of customers to have great Wi-Fi connectivity and quality service, and they are willing to pay for it. Worse off, when they buy these devices, you, the service provider, loses out on that revenue opportunity. Unfortunately, the only thing the service provider gets out of this is increase in support calls and increase in costs. We have seen as we travel around the world and talk with our customers that support calls are rising at an increased rate, and that 50% of support calls are related to Wi-Fi issues. The unfortunate thing is that these calls are typically up to 3 times in length versus broadband support calls, On average, broadband support calls are 9 minutes in length versus a Wi-Fi support call that's 27 minutes in length. And this saps your resources and it drives up your costs. So overall, call volume is up, the complexity is increasing with third-party devices in your network, and costs are going up. The other unfortunate effect is that when customers place these devices in their home, they are really generating data that's going to the vendors and not to you. As Google has demonstrated, data is the key to profitability. You, as a service provider, want to provide and participate in that data acquisition so that you can better provide services to your customers that they are demanding, and you can reap the revenue rewards. And ultimately, the problem that we all face as service providers, when a customer thinks about innovation, they think about Amazon, Google, Apple's, the branded technology in their home, and not about how the connection got to the home and the technology involved with getting it there. As a service provider, we want our customers to think of us as technology partners, and it is an uphill battle as your brand is usually invisible in the home. With the Calix Smart Home, we will show you how to help you brand your company, get that recognition by your customers, and act as their trusted technology partner. So this leads to really an initial depressing competitive landscape where IoT is crashing into the home, complexity is increasing for both customers and service providers, revenue is being generated, but it's being funneled off to Amazon, Google, and Samsung, and not to you. All you get are increasing support costs as well as potential increase in churn, because all you are to your customers is a commodity-based broadband pipe. There's no value in what you're driving to your customers. So what are you supposed to do in this situation? What are your options to combat that? Let's review what they are. So one thing we saw last holiday season that we don't think was the wisest strategy by service providers was advertising promotional gateways. If you opened up a new broadband account or upgraded, you would get one of the consumer devices like a Google or an Alexa, and all you were doing was propagating the brand of the consumer giant and leaking off valuable data and potential revenue to these giants. Service provider is just left with an unmanageable device in the house and maybe gets a tiny margin, and it really doesn't seem like the best idea. What about trying to be a smart home provider using consumer IoT device packages? Well, we have seen this on many service provider websites that they have smart home bundles, and it is resale of devices, hopefully in the same ecosystem that can begin to enable a customer smart home. But again, all you're doing is propagating the wrong brand. It is an unmanageable solution. You are not a traditional retailer, and retailing is very hard. You have to manage inventory, margin pressures, discounting, and volatility of products. Really, you are just offering solutions that rob you of precious customer data, drives up your support costs, increases complexity for you and your customers. So what do we recommend? Well, we don't recommend that you do nothing. We've had discussions with senior executives, and they say that they do broadband well and they'll stick to providing that service only. We don't think it's a sustainable strategy, as demand is outstripped by the ability to continually upgrade networks and keep up with demand. And without these services in place, you'll become a commodity and easily replaceable. We've talked about the difficulties of retailing and managing a retail program of smart home bundles or products, so you really shouldn't try to be a retailer either. What we do recommend is to offer an integrated, purpose-built smart home solution that really takes advantage of the fast-paced consumer ecosystem. So how do you do that? Well, we think you do that by changing the game. This is done by offering a platform that enables your current invisible brand, a platform that co-ops visible brands like Alexa, Google, and Samsung. And these visible brands need to be treated as partners and not as enemies. The large internet players can focus on coalescing the really chaotic environment into coherent ecosystems because they have experience and they're really very good at it. You know, if it was the beginning of 2017, we at Calix would have advised to stay away from the smart home infrastructure, as it was nothing but a chaotic, unmanageable environment. But if you fast forward to this year, and we're really seeing the big three internet players dominating in the marketplace, we're seeing them provide ecosystems that work with the majority of IoT devices, and that's creating a stable environment for IoT devices. So a good strategy is to rely on the internet giants to do what they do well, innovate and drive ecosystems, and we can leverage it. So we at Calix are really proud to introduce your branded smart home solution powered by Calix Smart Home and Business Platform.
Okay, time to set up my new smart home.
Welcome to the Anycom Smart Home. Do you want to be a Google or Amazon home?
Amazon, please.
Configuring your Anycom Smart Home. Please provide your email.
SueMiller@gmail.com.
Please provide your password.
I love hockey.
Thank you. Your Anycom Smart Home is now set up. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No thanks.
Goodbye.
Wow, that's it? I feel so powerful.
Okay, so what did we just see in that video? It's important to stop and deconstruct that video. We saw an early functional prototype for a smart home system we're going to talk about coming up in the next few slides. The endpoint in the video was really a larger endpoint than what we're actually going to ship, but it was a functional prototype. It was running on skills that we wrote, and those skills running on Amazon Web Services. And it is a full trial of the voice interactions that consumers will have and should expect with Calix Smart Home. And if you look at the endpoint, you'll see something very important. You will see a company brand. In this case, in the video, it was the generic Anycom brand, but a final product will have your logo, and your customers will be interacting with the smart home solution. They will be looking at your brand. It really enforces your brand equity in the customer, and you begin to be viewed as a technology partner and a valuable asset to your customer. And really more than technology, Calix Smart Home and Business Solution is a platform that will deliver an epic experience to your customer. That's because it enables marketing and branding, and it is really a new category that drives new business models and revenue streams within it. You are no longer viewed as a commodity in your customer's eyes. You're a valuable and trusted technology partner, which will secure customer loyalty for life. It allows you to manage costs, speed time to market as we leverage the pace of consumer ecosystem. So let's look at the elements that are contained in the Calix Smart Home and Business Platform. They are EXOS, or the Experience Operating System. That is the platform that hosts much of the experience that we will talk about in the upcoming slides. It is the brand new Giga family, and together they form the smart home system being deployed in the home, and it includes Calix Cloud and the two services, Calix Support Cloud and Calix Marketing Cloud, that enable you to understand the behaviors of your customers and manage the smart home. And then of course there's Calix Services that help you turn up the new offering for your customers and manage the risks of startup. So let's start with the EXOS, the platform, or really the software magic that underpins what we find in the new smart home and business system. So if we take a look at the architectural layout of this platform, first you'll see the all familiar hardware abstraction layer that we all know that systems from mainframes to smartphones have. One of the things we realized that in order to have a true next generation smart home platform, we really needed a robust execution environment in the home, and that had to be extracted from the hardware to run on any platform. When we wrote the apps to the platform, we knew they could run anywhere, finally removing the dependence on the hardware vendor for system software. You can see the SoC abstraction layer, common applications runtime environment that runs standard packages and management, and then the microservices aggregation platform that connects us from the execution environment in the home to all the rich services and the many clouds from the many platforms and ecosystems in the home. So whether it's Google, Amazon, or any services you create, they will be accessible by your customers on EXOS. So you may ask, what does this mean to you as a service provider, and what does it mean for your customers? First and foremost, your customers get uninterrupted service. If you think about what you are delivering to your customers in the home, because it is containerized, modular, and stateful, you can upgrade functionality in the home. And since we decoupled state from the execution environment and code, we can keep the state, upgrade the base code, reapply the state, and continue to function in a seamless way to customers. It is these seamless upgrades to meet the ever-evolving needs of your customers and keep them customers for life. For you as a service provider, it means you can introduce new services seamlessly without risking your core broadband service, and it means no more maintenance windows for easy new service deployments. And really, this is based on software flexibility, and the beauty of decoupling from the hardware allows you to make changes and meet market demands rapidly. We have helped with a common management model and sophisticated architectural model, which really benefits you, the service providers, in many ways, including easier BSS OSS integration. We talked about less reliance on the hardware supplier, analytics and insight built right into the platform. And since all traffic runs through EXOS, we have built-in software DPI to understand and advantage your customers whenever it is needed. Most importantly, we have security at the edge because we're in line with the customer, with the smart home system. We see all traffic, and if there is ever anything happening that is at the edge in the home, we can see it and shut it down before it gets to your network. So how does this benefit your subscribers? It shows robust value from you, the service provider, rapid upgrades based on software cadence and not on hardware cadence to keep up with the ever-increasing demand for services from your customers. And we really can't stress this enough, that valuing the value and coupling to the vast ecosystems that the three major vendors are driving. And since we have containerized model, application software development kit, and microservices aggregation platform, we are tied into the ecosystems, and you can provide a curated solution for your customers with elements that you think best serve your customers' base. And not just broadly, but by region, by state, by locality, however you think it best serves your customers. For your subscribers, it really saves them time and money. They don't have to have a separate gateway in their home. It simplifies their life and assures your customers the best experience possible from their service provider. So that was EXOS. Let's take a look at the revolutionary GigaFamily and what we're doing to break the mold and really provide the best in-class solution for you and your customers. Before we get into this, I want to talk about home enablement and the evolution, or really revolution, that Calix is bringing with our new smart home systems. For years and years, the industry delivered really kind of calculator type devices, inexpensive low power solutions, which really shortchanged the customer experience in the home when it came to Wi-Fi. These have evolved into more powerful antenna monsters and are really hardware centric still, really built to solve a single problem, which is whole home coverage. There are more antennas, but it's really just the same as the older version. What we're introducing with the GigaFamily and GigaSpire line is a sophisticated smart home system. It is a system that encompasses hardware and software, cloud services, and provides a more robust platform for your smart home offering. So let's dive into it. So when GigaSpire was in development, we asked our engineers to build a platform that was a no-compromise solution. Historically, service providers have always been constrained by current solutions and really unable to compete in the marketplace. And we wanted to offer to break those shackles. So we said we wanted a no-holds-barred solution and what we could provide in best in class. And that is the GigaSpire. It's the first platform that can be a service provider offered 8x8 11AX Wi-Fi solution. It can work with all IoT technology ecosystems. It has built-in voice command services that includes Alexa or Google Assistant. There are 2 platform options, and it's configurable as a gateway or a satellite. So let's talk about the platform lineup. We offer 2 main SKUs and a mesh satellite. The GigaSpire Max offers Wi-Fi, 802.11ax, IoT support, standard protocols in Zigbee and Z-Wave, full support for Alexa and Google. The GigaSpire Blast is a Wi-Fi only device. So the Giga family can be configured in your smart home environment as gateways or satellites. And if the satellite only is needed, we have a Giga Mesh unit that helps extend wireless throughout the home. So what does that bring to you as the service provider? It brings the benefits of voice skills revolution as your customers begin to use their voice with this platform. It offers incredible support as it begins to automate operations through your customers' voice commands. Customers can begin to do self-support through the voice, and the effect of this is it will reduce calls to your internet help desk. It enhances smart home experience as it couples with your own systems to offer customers an unparalleled service offering. So as we talked about earlier, built into this system is support for the IoT ecosystems that have become dominant in the marketplace. There's no need now for an extra hub in the network. If you go to a big box store, you get an IoT device, and more times than not, it's a solution that needs an extra box to run its software. EXOS can provide this for them. Your customers do not need any other solutions to clutter up their home with unneeded extra boxes. It really simplifies the network and becomes a fully managed solution. And if you look at the Giga family solution and how we stack up against one of the major players in the market like Comcast, you will see that across multiple categories, we outperform these solutions. And we will continue to keep pace in this market and grow the solution even further as the market matures. So now let's talk about the Calix Cloud. We've talked about the many elements of the Calix Smart Home solution, including EXOS and the Giga family platform. Now let's talk about the 2 cloud solutions that really light up the smart home system. Before we do that, let's talk about the philosophy of the cloud and cloud services. And the philosophy is unlocking the data that is already in your network, the data that is being generated today, and the new data that will flow through EXOS. We need to provide this valuable information to you as the service provider and really need to understand your customer's need. We need to provide this data, democratize it across your company so that different departments and marketers can use this data in new revenue generating ways never before possible. And so what do we do with that and the elements of the Calix Cloud family that participate in Smart Home and Business Platform? There are the Calix Marketing Cloud and the Calix Support Cloud. The Calix Marketing Cloud is a solution that gives real-time insight for your marketers to provide services and solutions that are in demand by your customers as shown through the data. The Marketing Cloud is a way to tap into subscriber behavior and delivers ways to increase your ARPU, identify and stop churn before it happens, and tailor target marketing based on behavior to increase the effectiveness of your marketing spend. In the Calix Support Cloud, if you think about what we discussed earlier about increased costs and complexity with the increase in IoT devices in the home, Calix Support Cloud comes to the rescue and helps you combat costs as we help you with automation and enhanced customer support. So let's talk about the information you get today and what you do to understand about your customers. From a marketer's point of view, you sort of know the demographics, you know the rough income level, you know what the home purchases from you and what they pay a month. But what you really don't know or understand are the needs of each individual customer in the house from the complex reports that you get from your data warehouses. What you really need to know are the individual personas that occupy the home, what they're doing, how much gaming, streaming they do, how many times they hit their speed tier thresholds, how many times a month, are they doing speed tests, are they going to competitors' websites, which indicate a potential churn candidate. The marketing tool will help you identify and stop churn before it happens. This is what you need to know as you create and design programs for your customers in smart homes and how you evolve these services as the customer relationship matures and grows. And what about the technology footprint in the home? What do you see and know? Well, sadly, you can only see with your current ACS or reports is very little. As we mentioned before, you have limited information on demographics, income. The gateway you provided them, you may or may not know if they disconnected it and gone to a Best Buy for a newer, more powerful device to get a better Wi-Fi experience throughout the house. But what you need to know is what IoT devices they have in the home. What's their favorite? Are they an Amazon customer? What smart home solution do they have? Do they have an iPhone, an iPad, a smart home, and the TV in the home? What technologies do they use most often? When you place a Calix smart home system, you will have all this information. You will have a view into the technology landscape in the home to better service your customer today and into the future. So net, what you get from Calix Cloud as it participates with the smart home solution is an incredible support for your marketers, really strong support for your customer care organization, up to and including the newest features in Calix Support Cloud for proactive remediation of problems. And as the manager of these departments, you get better insight into how your offerings are performing, how to optimize them, and keep your costs in line. So last and certainly not least are Calix services. As we talked about earlier, this is really a new revolution and is a new category of offering that helps you to manage risks of bringing customers on board with this platform. Calix services are there to help you understand, plan, execute, and really manage risk around offering these new types of services. First and foremost, we work with you to stand up the various elements of the solution. We work with you to help you empower your team with knowledge and what we have put in place with the elements of smart home system and cloud-based services. And looking into the future, how do we extend services like building mobile applications, customizing the standard applications that come with the platforms, and if you wish, guidance and coaching on how to build skills and developing this new enhanced system. So that is the Calix Smart Home and Business Solution story. We think that 2018 is the year where winners and losers will be defined in this marketplace. And we'll be here to work with you as you begin to dominate in 2018 and move into 2019. Thank you all for attending. Good day.